Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to today's Sunday program. It's been a pleasure to see you all today. I think many of you are students from the universities over here, Newcastle, Northumbria. So good to see you all. So now we'll be discussing from Bhagavad Gita as it is. So it's going to be a lecture. May not be like your university lecture, but more interesting than that. So, but before we begin, we'll sing a small bhajan, kirtan, which is there on the board here. So you all, I'll sing the first line and you all can repeat after me. So there are 2 lines, but each line is divided into half. Or we'll be singing the 4 lines. Yeah. Sorry, don't mind. Okay. So I'll sing first, and you all can repeat after me. Right. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So, in today's discussion, we'll be discussing from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 7, chapter entitled Knowledge of the Absolute, and text number 3. So if you all can open Bhagavad Gita, page number 366. Might be different in a few books. It's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 66. Sorry, text 3. Page number 366. Okay. Right. So you all can, I say it first and you all can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay. I'll say each word first and you all can repeat after me. Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye Yatata Api Siddhana Kaschit Mam Veti Tatvataha. Now I read the whole line and you can repeat after me. Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye Yatataamapi Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha. Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye Yatataamapi Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha. Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye Yatataamapi Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha. So would anyone like to recite?
Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati
Siddhaye
Yatataamapi
Siddhanam
Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha.
Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye Yatataamapi Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha.
Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye Yatataamapi Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha. Manushyanam Sahasreshu
Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye
Yatataamapi Siddhanam
Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha. Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye Yatataamapi Siddhanam
Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha.
Kaschin mam vedi tatvatah. Any ladies? Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatapi siddhanam kaschin mam vedi tatvatah. Yes. Okay. So now we go to word translations. The next bit which you see after the verse. So you all can repeat after me. I'll say first and you all can repeat. Manushyanam of men. Sahasreshu of many thousands. Kaschid someone. Yatati endeavors. Siddhaye for perfection. Yatatam of those who so endeavoring. Api indeed. Siddhanam of those who have achieved perfection. Kaschid someone. Mam me. Veti does know. Tatvatah in fact. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. I say first now, and you all can repeat after me. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Now I read out the purport and you all can follow me after me. Just here. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are various grades of men, and out of many thousands, one may be sufficiently interested in transcendental realization to try to know what is the self, what is the body, and what is the absolute truth. Generally, mankind is simply engaged in animal propensities, namely eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, and hardly anyone is interested in transcendental knowledge. The first 6 chapters of the Gita are meant for those who are interested in transcendental knowledge, in understanding the self, the super self, and the process of realization like Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and discrimination of the self from matter. However, Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness. Other transcendentalists may achieve impersonal Brahman realization, but this is easier than understanding Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Person, but at the same time is beyond the knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma. The yogis and jnanis are confused in their attempts to understand Krishna. Although the greatest of the impersonalists, Sripala Shankaracharya, has admitted in his Gita commentary that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his followers do not accept Krishna as such, for it is very difficult to know Krishna, even though one has transcendental realization of impersonal Brahman. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the primeval Lord Govinda, Ishwar of Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana. It is very difficult for the non-devotees to know him. Although non-devotees declare that the path of bhakti or devotional service is very easy, they cannot practice it. If the path of bhakti is so easy, as a non-devotee class of men proclaim, then why don't they take up the difficult path? Actually, the path of bhakti is not easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized persons without knowledge of bhakti may be easy, but when it is practiced factually according to the rules and regulations, the speculative scholars and philosophers fall away from the path. Srila Rupa Goswami writes in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.101, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhimbina Aikantiki Hare Bhaktir Utpata Yeva Kalpate. Devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. It is not possible for the Brahman realized impersonalist or the Paramatma realized yogi to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yashoda or the charioteer of Arjuna. Even the great demigods are sometimes confused about Krishna. Muhyanti at Surya, Mam tu Vedana Kaschana. No one knows me as I am, the Lord says. And if one does know him, then Samahatma Sudurlabhava, such a great soul is very rare. Therefore, unless one practices devotional service to the Lord, one cannot know Krishna as he is, Tattvadaha, even though one is a great scholar or philosopher. Only the pure devotees can know something of the inconceivable transcendental qualities in Krishna, in the cause of all causes, in his omnipotence and opulence, and in his wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, because Krishna is benevolently inclined to his devotees. He is the last word in Brahman realization, and the devotees alone can realize him as he is. Therefore it is stated, Adah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahim indriya sevam mukhe jihvado swayam eva suratyadaha. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-2-34. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Purvadeshwari Vivedanta Swamine Nam. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Shri Krishna Chai. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasachatya Shatarane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. So welcome everyone to today's session on Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 7, text 3. So we discussed about this chapter or this verse today. This is for the next 15-20 minutes. So actually I specifically chose this verse because few months before, on the day when Krishna appeared on Sri Krishna Janmashtami, I gave a lecture on Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text 9, which is Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yoviti Tattva Tyaktva Devam Punarjanma Naiti Mamiti Sorjan. Anyone who understands the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance and his activities as transcendental or in truth, they do not take birth in this material world again, but they go back home, back to Godhead. So in that verse, Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of our society, Krishna Consciousness Society, specifically emphasizes that we should not just understand Krishna's appearance and activities, but we should understand them in truth. So that's like a punch is given there in that verse, that we should not just understand Krishna's pastimes to be ordinary, but they are transcendental, but we should also understand them from the right source, from an authoritative source. So even if we see, so in that verse, the word Tattvataha has been specifically used. So whoever understands Krishna's transcendental appearance and activities in truth, in Tattva, they go back home, back to Godhead, to the spiritual world. So here in this verse also, chapter 7, text 3, the word Tattvataha has been used. So if you see this verse, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatat siddhaye yatatam abhisiddhanam kaschin mam vedi Tattvataha. So there, the translation is as follows. There are many thousands of people in the society, but out of those thousands of people, there are only a few who endeavor for perfection. And in due course of the lecture, we'll also understand what is that perfection and who are those endeavoring for perfection. And later on, Krishna continues that out of those who have attained perfection, only one knows Krishna in tattva, in truth. So we can understand that how difficult it is to understand Krishna in truth. And what's the result of understanding Krishna in truth is we go back home, back to Godhead, to the spiritual world, the planet where Krishna stays, and we can associate with him. So that's like a brief introduction to this lecture, that what we are going to discuss for the next few minutes. So this third chapter of Bhagavad Gita is very important because if we see in Bhagavad Gita, there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. And if we split these 18 chapters into three parts, we have the first 1 to 6 chapters, and 7 to 13 chapters, and then 7 to 12 chapters, and then 13 to 18 chapters. So there are three parts of Bhagavad Gita. But this part, which is like the 7 to 12 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, is very, very important. Even if we see the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita are meant for those who are interested in transcendental knowledge, in understanding the self, in the super self, and the process of realization by Gnana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and discrimination of the self from matter. So the first 6 chapters are meant for us to come to the realization of Gnana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or at least come to the platform that we realize that we are not this body, but we are eternal living souls who are present within the body. So at least from the first 6, till we come to the 6 chapters, we should have that preliminary understanding. Then after that, from the 7 to 12 chapters, Krishna explains the essence of devotional service. Or the 7 to 12 chapters is specifically meant about devotional service. Our temple president, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, regarding this topic, he gives an example. Like, you see a sandwich, a sandwich has breads, there's one bread and there's some substance in between, and then on top of it you see another bread. So even in Bhagavad Gita, we see that there are the first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters, but the middle 6 chapters is like the actual substance. These middle 6 chapters reveal the identity of Krishna. So even if we see the names of the chapters, the first chapter is observing the armies of the Kurukshetra, the second chapter is contents of the Gita summarized, the third chapter is Karma Yoga, fourth chapter is transcendental knowledge, and fifth chapter is Karma Yoga again, and sixth chapter is Dhyana Yoga. But if you see the 7th chapter, what's the name of the 7th chapter? It's the knowledge of the Absolute. So now, what all we discussed, it directly relates to Krishna. Krishna is directly revealing himself from the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So this 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is very, very important. All the chapters of Bhagavad Gita are very important, but specifically the verses coming from the 7th chapter are very, very important. And even if you see the lectures of Srila Prabhupada, there is one verse on which Srila Prabhupada has given the maximum number of lectures. And that verse is not Sarvadharman Parityaja or Manmana Bhagavan Bhakto or any other famous verses from Bhagavad Gita, like Paritranaya Sadhanam or Janma Karma Chamedevam also. But the most number of lectures given by Srila Prabhupada on Bhagavad Gita, on a verse from Bhagavad Gita, is the first verse of the 7th chapter. So today we'll be discussing from the 3rd verse of the 7th chapter, but Srila Prabhupada, I think he has given about 30 or 40 lectures on just the first verse of the 7th chapter. So from the 7th chapter, the actual knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is revealed by Krishna. So, okay, let's now dive into this verse. So here, in this verse, Krishna says that out of many thousands of men, one may endeavor for perfection, and out of many who have achieved perfection, one understands Krishna in truth. So, we see that now even in the city of Newcastle, there may be 1 million people living or 100,000 people living, but how many people we see in this temple? It's only a few, right? So, even practically also we can understand that there are many people in the society, but out of those many people, there are only a few who are endeavoring for perfection, like you all great souls, who have come today to the temple. And so what about the others then? Why they do not have this inclination to endeavor for perfection? We'll discuss what is perfection first of all, but let's discuss why they don't have this inclination to come to the temple. That Srila Prabhupada explains as because they are engrossed in eating, sleeping, mating and defending. If you see in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, generally mankind is simply engaged in the animal propensities, namely eating, sleeping, defending and mating, and hardly anyone is interested in transcendental knowledge. So, eating, sleeping, mating and defending, and Srila Prabhupada calls them as animal propensities. That's harsh, isn't it? How can someone call them as animal propensities? We all eat, we all sleep, we all mate, we all defend. So, are we animals? That is explained in Hitopanishad. There's a verse called Ahara Netra Bhayamaitanamsha Samanyametat Pashubhir Samana Pashubhir Narana Dharmo Hitesham Adhigo Vishesham Dharmena Hila Pashubhir Samana. And there is another verse which is similar to this verse. I think that's also from Hitopanishad. The same verse again, but there's a slight difference. Ahara Netra Bhayamaitanamsha Samanyametat Pashubhir Narana Dano Hitesham Adhigo Vishesham Dhanena Hila Pashubhir Samana. So, human beings and animals. What's the difference between human beings and animals? Hitopanishad says that eating, yes?
Sorry, they
Yeah.
have 4 legs.
Both legs.
4 legs.
4-leg animals, human beings. Yeah, that's true also.
The other pro has something.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, you asked for the differences. I was going to say ability for higher thinking.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it the animals?
To be honest, even animals have
Human beings.
even animals have higher thinking also. We see that the birds, they are expert in making nests, We see the spiders, they are like expert architects in building webs and everything. So even if we see the birds, oh yeah, you have something to say.
Animals have different bodies than humans.
Oh yes, very good.
Very good.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we all of us have different types of bodies, but we all have bodies. That's something in common. Okay, so let's come to Hitopanishad now. Hitopanishad says that eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These 4 things are present in both the human and animal societies. So, but there is one specific thing which distinguishes animals and human beings, and that thing is dharma, or the religious principles. And I've said another version of the same verse, which is the same verse, but there's another significant thing which differentiates human beings from animals, and that is transcendental knowledge. Only human beings have this ability to pursue religious principles and pursue transcendental knowledge, whereas animals, they do not have this knowledge to pursue. Either to follow the religious principles or to pursue higher transcendental knowledge. So, this human bird is very rare. There are 8,400,000 species of life, but out of those 8,400,000 species of life, only there are 400,000 species of life are human beings. And other 8 million species, they do not have the ability to pursue transcendental knowledge. So we can understand how rare is this human form of life is. And in this verse we see that even 400,000 species of human beings, they are like different types of human beings. So, but that's not like the population of the human beings. But out of these human beings also, only there are a few who endeavor for perfection. So now let's discuss what is perfection. So what's the perfection? Srimad Bhagavatam says that the perfection of the human life is to realize the absolute truth, or Krishna. And the absolute truth, or Krishna, can be realized in three phases, which is Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So if you see this purport, Srila Prabhupada uses these terms, Brahman and Paramatma, few times in the purport. So now everything falls into context now. So now we know what is perfection. Perfection means understanding the absolute truth. And who endeavor for perfection? Those who are pursuing Brahman realization, those who are pursuing Paramatma realization, and those who are pursuing Bhagavan realization. So I'll reiterate things now. There are many thousands of people living in the society, and out of those many, there are only a few who endeavor for perfection. And who are those few? They are those who are pursuing the Brahman realization, or those who are pursuing the Paramatma realization, and those who are pursuing the Bhagavan realization, or the realization of the Absolute Truth, or Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, now, even those, Krishna further in this translation says that even those who are endeavoring for perfection, or even those who have achieved perfection, only one can attain or know me in truth. So we can understand that now exclude this general mass of people. So now we have three classes of people. People who are pursuing Brahman realization, people who are pursuing Paramatma realization, and people who are pursuing Bhagavan realization. Brahman realization means understanding the Supreme as impersonal, effulgence. So they perceive that the Supreme Lord is light. So that's one realization of the Absolute Truth, or Krishna. And Paramatma realization is understanding Krishna as the Super Soul, Paramatma, present in everyone's heart. So when we compare Brahman realization and Paramatma realization, the realization of Paramatma is higher than Bhagavan. The realization of Paramatma is higher than Brahmajyoti. Brahmajyoti in the sense, perception of the Supreme Lord as light. So, but when the perception of Paramatma and the perception of Bhagavan is considered, the perception of Bhagavan, or understanding the Supreme Lord, Lord Shri Krishna, as the possessor of the six opulences, or understanding Krishna as the Absolute Truth, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, understanding Krishna as a person like us, is the topmost realization. So when the Paramatma realization, which is realizing that the Supreme Lord is present in everyone's heart as Super Soul, is considered, and the realization of Paramatma to understand the Supreme Lord as the Supreme Person is considered, the realization of Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is a person, is considered the topmost realization. And that we also see from this verse also, that Srila Prabhupada states that the yogis and jnanis are confused in their attempts to understand Krishna. So those who perceive the Brahman realization are generally mental speculators or jnanis who who try to understand the Lord by their mental speculation. So that's why their realization is very limited. But yogis are the people who perceive the Supreme Lord as Paramatma, who is situated in everyone's heart. So, as I said before, there are people who perceive Brahmajyoti, impersonal Brahman, and there are people who perceive Krishna as present in everyone's heart as Paramatma. So the people who perceive Krishna as impersonal Brahman or Brahmajyoti are jnanis. And the people who perceive Krishna to be present in everyone's heart as Paramatma are the yogis. But the people who perceive Krishna as the Supreme Person, Bhagavan, are bhaktas, or devotees of the Lord. So when the jnanis and the yogis are confused, Srila Prabhupada states in the purport here that the yogis and jnanis are confused in their attempts to understand Krishna. And at the end of the first paragraph of this purport, Srila Prabhupada states that, although the greatest of the impersonalists, Sripad Shankaracharya, has admitted in his Gita commentary that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his followers do not accept Krishna as such, for it is very difficult to know even though one has transcendental realization of impersonal Brahman. So what does this mean? So in one way, this is just like, explaining the last two lines of the verse. So Krishna says that Yadadama Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Vedi Tatvataha. Even among those who have achieved perfection, only one understands me in truth. And here Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Shankaracharya. Though Shankaracharya is an impersonalist, who preached the philosophy of impersonalism, which means the Supreme Lord is not a person but is an imperson, he is impersonal effulgence. But still he accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that's an exceptional thing. But still, there are his disciples who do not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Though Shankaracharya, he preached that the Supreme Lord is impersonal effulgence, but still he accepted that the Supreme Lord is also a person. But when the disciples of him are considered, they just followed the teachings of Shankaracharya, but they did not accept Krishna as a person. So we see that even those who have achieved perfection, out of those only one can understand Krishna in truth. So here in this case, Shankaracharya understood Krishna in truth, but not his disciples. So I think I'll end my lecture here because it's already 4:30, and more or less we have covered most of the lecture. So in summary, we have discussed that it's very insignificant to understand Krishna in truth, and we have also understood that there are many people in this society, but out of those many people, there are only a few people who endeavor for perfection. And we also discussed what is perfection and who endeavor for perfection. And later on, we also discussed that out of those many who have attained perfection, only one can understand Krishna in truth. So, any questions? Yeah, I see 3 hands. Yes, bro. Would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, can you please repeat what you said about yogis and how they perceive God?
Right. So, as I said before, the Supreme Lord or Krishna is perceived in 3 ways. Our 3 realizations, we can say. One is Brahma, and the other is Paramatma, and the other is Bhagavan. So Brahma means to understand Krishna as light, impersonal effulgence. And Paramatma means to understand Krishna present in everyone's heart as Paramatma. And the last realization is Bhagavan realization, which is to understand Krishna as the Supreme Person. And what is this Brahma then? This Brahma is the light coming from Krishna's body. So those who just perceive the Brahma realization or understand Krishna as just light, they are jnanis. And those who perceive Krishna as Paramatma or present in everyone's heart, they are called yogis. Because by the yogic process, they realize that the Supreme Lord is there present within their heart. And only devotees, by the execution of devotional service, by chanting, by engaging in Krishna's service, they realize that Krishna is absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who possesses the 6 opulences. And that is Bhagavan realization. And those who perceive Bhagavan realization are the bhaktas. Yeah, thank you.
What is it? Brahma realization or Brahman realization?
There's a difference between Brahma and Brahman.
Yeah. So mentioning is Brahma realization. Like Brahman
Or-
realization.
Oh, the last said Bhagavan realization. No.
The first is Brahman realization.
Brahman, yeah. Brahman.
You were like Brahma.
Brahma, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's a
It's
Brahman.
Brahman. Yeah, it's Brahman. Yeah.
And you can also maybe elaborate like 6 qualities of the Bhagavan so that.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So, as I was mentioning, the word Bhagavan. Bhagavan means, actually I should have said this in the lecture. So the word Bhagavan is very special. So in the Vedic literature, there's a verse called Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasya sriyaha Nana vairagya yuktevam sharvidam bhaga iti. I can't remember the last word. So the word Bhagavan is formed or composed of 2 words. Bhaga and Van. Bhaga means opulence and Van means who possesses the opulence. So what are these opulence? That is described in this verse. Aishwarya. Okay. So there are 6 opulences. There are knowledge, strength, beauty, fame, wealth, and renunciation. So any person who possesses these 6 in full or completely is called Bhagavan. So as individual beings, we may also possess a few of these 6 qualities. Like we may be a bit beautiful, or we may be in knowledge, or we may be a bit famous, we may be a bit wealthy, we may be renounced, and we may be a bit knowledgeable. But the person who possesses them incomplete is called Bhagavan or Krishna. So because Krishna possesses all the 6 opulences incomplete, he is called Bhagavan. And those who worship Bhagavan are called Bhaktas or the devotees of Krishna. So, yeah, I think that should make sense now. Yes, Prabhu, I said 2 other hands raised also. Shishman Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
There is no question here, and it's just sort of just want to make a comment. Beautifully articulated, lovely speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yellow Prabhu, you had to.
Yes, I was a little bit confused, and I wondered if you might be able to help a bit.
Yeah.
So in the verse, translation, it's out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection.
Yeah.
And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
Yes.
So, and you explained about perfection being having knowledge of the absolute.
Yeah.
So if even having the knowledge of the absolute, it's still very few who can understand Krishna, then where do we stand in terms of in the process of trying to reach his perfection?
Exactly. So we, by the mercy of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, we are pursuing the Supreme Lord as person. So in terms of when knowledge is concerned, we should not foolishly accept any knowledge. And especially we take knowledge from Shastra, we take knowledge from great personalities and the great personalities like sadhus, and we take knowledge from Guru, the spiritual master. So knowledge coming through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra is considered to be the topmost knowledge or perfect knowledge. So though we have directly escalated to the Bhagavan realization, it's by the mercy of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Otherwise, it's not directly possible for us to raise to the platform of Bhagavan realization by self-endeavoring. That's what the Gnanis and Yogis do. They try to understand the Supreme Lord by mental speculation. So without the guidance of the Shastra or Guru or Sadhu. And that's why, it's out of those who have attained perfection, it's only one who understands in truth. So we are very fortunate that by the mercy of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, that we could directly get the realization of Bhagavan. And it's very easy for us to understand Krishna. Whereas for these people, it's very, very difficult. Right. Yes, Prabhu.
Really nice talk once again. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you.
Very, very much in line with your question as well. Perfection. Just imagine Islam faith, right?
Yeah.
They will also say, we have Shastra, we have also Guru, we have scriptures as well, So even when Hinduism, you have Shiva, Tattva, you have Durga, they will also say the same thing. Guru, Shastra is there, association is there.
Yeah.
So how do we really define our faith being the best?
Right. So while I was discussing this point, that we take knowledge from the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So actually knowledge should not be accepted foolishly, as I said before. So in our parampara, we ascertain knowledge. There is a word called pramana. Pramana means that by which we ascertain knowledge. So knowledge can be obtained in three ways. One is pratyaksha, and the other is anumana, and the third is shabda pramana. So these are the three pramanas, or the things on the basis of which we ascertain knowledge, or we receive knowledge, or we judge knowledge. So in these three ways knowledge can be received. Knowledge can be, so first I'll explain pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means obtaining knowledge by sensual perception, and the anumana means mind's ability to perceive knowledge, and the third is shabda pramana, in the sense hearing from authority. So there's nothing much to discuss about pratyaksha and anumana, but because we follow shabda pramana, in the sense our knowledge is coming from an authorized disciplic succession, and we follow authority. So as you said, there are many religions in the world, but any religion which teaches one to love God is also considered to be shabda pramana, because that's the perfection. So that's like when many religions are considered. So any religion which teaches one how to love God, that's considered a perfect religion. And when in India is concerned, there are many demigods and other worships also. But who is the authority who is guiding them to do demigod worship? Srila Prabhupada often in his lectures used to say that many great acharyas like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Shankaracharya, they all accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we follow the acharyas, Acharya Upasanam, Mahatma, what's the word? Anyway, I'm not getting the word. Mahajano Yena Gataspanta. So we follow the authorities. So even if we see that there is demigod worship and all other things, how many acharyas have encouraged demigod worship? All the acharyas, even the impersonalistic acharya like Shankaracharya, like Srila Prabhupada said, has admitted in his Gita commentary that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we follow acharyas. So we don't blindly judge, oh, people are doing this, so should I also do this? No. We follow the acharyas, we follow the authority, and authorities give us knowledge that this is the perfect thing, and that we follow the authorities and they lead us to Krishna.
Really good answer, because Prabhupada also, the first part that you said, he said any religion who loves God, so there is, we don't fight with any religion whatsoever, because it's not that, you're a Muslim or if you can love God, and that's possible.
Exactly. Even this system of authorities is there in other religions also. If we see Jesus is an authority.
Yes.
Who teaches us how to love God. So he's to be considered an acharya also. If we see Prophet or Muhammad, they are also like authorities whose aim is to give love of God. But like Srila Prabhupada says that Shankaracharya in his Gita commentary admitted that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. His followers do not accept Krishna as such. So even if we see in these other religions also, the acharyas have accepted that the perfection is love of God, but it's the followers who interpret the teachings of the acharyas.
Really good answer. So also Prabhupada did also say, he condemns only people who say we are God.
Yeah.
And not people who love God. So,
exactly.
Again, in Hinduism as well, there are a lot of people faith which says we are God. So that's where the whole condemnation process starts.
Yeah, that's when people are under illusion.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
There are so many people, as you mentioned, who aim for perfection. You gave all these examples.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between that one person who has the last category, yes? So how is he able to reach that position? Who fully understands, I think it comes from the verse, isn't it? After perfection. So what is the difference? What is that person doing something different? Even though these people following perfection also follow an acharya, It's all there. So what is the difference between these two categories?
Right. So again the same example can be given, like those Shankaracharyas admitted Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if the followers of Shankaracharya accept the teachings of Shankaracharya as it is, then they can also come to the same conclusion. But because they have this tendency to interpret the teachings of the Shankaracharya or the Acharya So the knowledge transmission is interpreted, and that's when one gets misled to other parts and they do not reach the destination. But if you follow the Acharya as it is, then you'll surely reach the ultimate perfection. You'll be that 1% who understands Krishna in truth. Does that answer your question? Yeah, go.
Just one thought after what Guru Swami said. In terms of different religions, and they all preach about the love of God.
Yeah.
So then one may ask, so why are the instructions, why do they appear to be different from religion to religion? And once one is going to tell me, well, let's say you need to go to Leicester, for instance.
Yes, we're going now.
You're in London.
In a few minutes, stuff.
So you're in London, you need to go to Leicester. So the instructions would be, you need to go north. You're in Newcastle, you need to go to Leicester. You need to go south. They're both right.
Yeah.
So the one in London may say, no, I've been told I have to go north to go to Leicester. The one in Newcastle may say, no, I've been told I have to go south.
Yeah.
They're both right because they both lead you to the same destination.
Yeah.
So basically, it's if you follow sort of the love of God practice,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Essentially, so that story just sort of rounded that enough for that share.
Thank you.
So, any more final thoughts, comments, questions, reflections? Right, Prabhu, you want to? Okay, so then we can end today's session of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Jai Shri Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai.
Jai.
How are you?
I think we can find it.
Very nice. You're okay?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.